everyone, it's Sarah and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to make this cute little drop of water tag to add to your water bottle. Now around here all the schools ask that kids bring a reusable water bottle to keep with them at their desk, and I think it's a great idea. And of course most of us now love to have a water bottle with us that we can carry with us. Well, I had an issue at the gym once where my water bottle was taken, and it was a water bottle that was similar to other people's. And so I thought it'd be a great idea just to add a little tag that says, "Hey, that's my water bottle." And they're a lot of fun to make, and they whip up really super quick. The written pattern is on my blog, and you can find that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. The water bottle tag, or tag you want to put on anything, backpack, suitcase, is a super easy tag to make. You can make it out of cotton. This one's made out of cotton. Or you can use a worsted weight, medium weight, number 4 yarn. The cotton and the acrylic are both number 4 yarns. This is just a light and a dark blue Red Heart Super Saver. And then I've got a little bit of white here that's a little bit thinner. It's a number 3 acrylic yarn, and I'm going to use that just to put the letter on the tag. Now, we're going to be stitching with our H hook, which is a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. You'll need the needle for weaving in your ends and for sewing on your letter if you want to put one on there. And of course, you'll need some scissors. Don't forget, you also need a water bottle. We'll be starting at the center of the tag and work our way out, and then we'll add the trim on and this little loop that we use to attach it to the water bottle. I'm going to start with my lighter blue color. I'm going to make my slip knot, and then I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to place 5 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. There's our first chain. Here's our second. We'll go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through both loops. There's 1, 2, 3, move that tail out of the way there, 4, 5 single crochets. Now I'm going to join with a slip stitch, and there's my row 1, 5 single crochets. For row 2, I'm going to place 2 single crochets in each of the 5 single crochets. I'm going to chain 1 just to get me up on the top. The chain 1 does not count as a stitch. We'll go right in this first single crochet and stitch 2. 1 and 2. Now we'll stitch 2 in the remaining 4. 1, 2. All right, let's count to make sure we've got 10. And the best way to count is to count these little braids on the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to join to the first single crochet, not the chain 1, the single crochet with a slip stitch, and we'll chain 1. Now you'll notice you might have a hole in the center. Don't worry. We're going to come back with our needle and use this tail of yarn to close that up. And so that's what your row 2 should look like. Now for row 3, we're going to do the same thing we did row 2, only we're going to have more stitches. We're going to place 2 single crochets in each of the stitches around. We have 10, so we'll have 20 at the end of row 3. We've chained 1. We're going to go right in that first stitch and stitch 2 single crochets, and then we'll stitch 2 in each of those 10. I've completed row 3. I joined to the first single crochet, and now I have 20 single crochets. On this next row, row 4, we're going to form that teardrop shape. In the first stitch, we're going to stitch a single crochet. In the next stitch, we're going to stitch 2 single crochets. In the next stitch, we're going to stitch 2 half double crochets. Yarn over, go in the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through all 3. And we'll do that again. So we have 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. All right. Now the next stitch, we're going to stitch 2 double crochets. Yarn over, go in the stitch, pull up a loop. Yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2. So now we have a single crochet, 2 single crochets, 2 half doubles, and 2 double crochets. Now in this next stitch, we're going to stitch 2 triple crochets. So we're going to do 2 wraps, go in the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, go through the second 2, yarn over, and go through the third 2. That's our triple. Let's do it again. So we have 2 triples in the same stitch. All right, now we're going to go backwards what we did here. So we'll put 2 double crochets in the next stitch. We'll put 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. Two singles in the next. 1 and 2. And there's the top of our teardrop shape. Now we're going to stitch 1 single crochet the rest of the way around. 1 single crochet in each stitch around. I've continued stitching single crochets all the way around. I'm going to join in that first single crochet with a slip stitch, and I'm going to cut my yarn. And you can see the shape of the teardrop or the water drop. All right, I'm going to bring in my second color. On my cotton one, I kept it all the same color. I didn't change. But on this one, I'm going to just change to a darker blue, just for fun. All right, now, that out of the way there. We're going to be stitching slip stitches up till we reach the triple stitch. All right, so we'll just go in, pull up a loop, then pull that loop through the loop that's already on your hook. Be careful not to pull this too tightly because you don't want it to pucker up on you. You want it to lay nice and smooth. Whoops. There we go. All right, so I'm at the stitch where I have the 2 triple stitches in the center, and I'm at that stitch, so I'm going to chain 15 stitches. There we go, 15 stitches for a chain of 15. Now I'm going to go to the next stitch, which is the second triple, and stitch a slip stitch. And then we'll just slip stitch back around our whole water drop. I've slip stitched all the way around back to where I started, and I'm going to go under that slip stitch, cut my yarn, and now I'm going to go to the next one and get my hook in there. There we go. Grab that loop and just pull it to the back and tie that off. Now we do have a little bit of weaving in to do, but before we do that, I want to deal with this hole in the back, or in the center, and this is our front. We're going to turn it to the back. We're going to grab our needle, thread that on there, and then we're just going to go around these stitches from our first row. And just close up that hole nice and tidy. And then we'll weave those in. There we go. And of course we'll need to weave these in, and we'll do that in just a second. But this is the way that it should look after we've finished that row. I'm going to go ahead and tidy this up, and then I'll show you how to add the letter. To stitch on the letter, I choose a yarn that's a different color so that it will show up. See, on this one I've got a little bit of an orange color on there. And I go with kind of a block letter stitch. You can go on your computer and just look at the different fonts and come up with one that you like and that is kind of easy. All right, I'm going to stitch an M on here just to give you an idea. And I like to try to use the 2 center circles as my base of knowing where to put them. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail in the back so that I can knot that up. All right, so I'm going to come down here. And it doesn't have to be fancy. I mean, you certainly can make it fancy if you want to, but the whole point is just making sure that people know this is your water bottle or your bag, your lunch bag or your backpack, whatever you're putting this tag on. One thing I do not recommend is if you're making this for a child, a letter is fine, or maybe even putting their favorite number on there, but don't put their name, because we have learned that it isn't a good idea to put children's names on things. Okay, so that's just a simple M that I added. It's just a way for you to know that it's yours. All right, so what I do in the back is I just go ahead and tie that knot and add just a dab of the Eileen's fabric glue. You can also use a fray check and or a dot of hot glue. Now remember, if this is going to be out in the heat, hot glue is not a good choice because it will melt. All right, the one I use is called Eileen's or Aileen's fabric glue. You can get it at Hobby Lobby, you can get it at Walmart and Michael's, as well as Joann's. So if you don't know where it's at, it's usually by where the hot glue is. All right, so there's our tag, and the way you put it on, here's this. And what I do is I just slip the loop in, I fold the tag in half, and I slide it in there. This way you don't have to deal with anything that's metal or plastic or anything. You've just got a cute tag, and if it does get dirty, you can take it off and toss it in the wash. And that's how you make a tag that you can use for your water bottle, backpack, suitcase, purse, or anything you want to say, hey, that's mine.